What if golf's golden boy isn't as spotless as everyone believes? Scottie Scheffler, the calm, quiet Texan turned poster child for PGA Tour loyalty, has long been portrayed as the one player who never even glanced at LIV Golf's money. While Phil Mickelson, Brooks Koepka, and Dustin Johnson bolted for jaw-dropping paydays, Scheffler stayed put, looking rock-solid and untouchable. Fans loved the image quiet, disciplined, above the chaos, but what if that image has cracks? Low-key whispers are circulating about a hush-hush $5 million LIV side deal, with no headlines, no press tour, just a quiet offer that allegedly surfaced and disappeared just as fast. Insiders claim the money was meant to keep the door open without blowing up his clean reputation, and if that's true, it raises uncomfortable questions about the one player fans swore was incorruptible. In golf, loyalty is priceless until someone finally names a number. Steady and grounded, Scheffler built a reputation as a guy who chose time with his wife and close circle over loud endorsements or private jets flaunted for social media clout. To many fans, he represented golf's purity and old-school values, a rare figure in a sport being pulled in opposite directions. Yet beneath that clean image, there was always another layer waiting to be questioned. The PGA Tour needed him exactly where he was young, world number one, and providing credibility at a moment when LIV Golf's checkbook seemed impossible to resist in the fight for the sport's future. Scheffler wasn't just another name, he was the tour's poster child, which is why talk of a rumored secret deal hit so hard. If even he felt temptation, then no one was truly off limits. And those whispers didn't come out of nowhere. They didn't start on ESPN or the Golf Channel, but in the Shadows fan forums, late-night Twitter threads, and golf-focused podcasts spinning theories about who LIV might chase next. One name kept surfacing again and again: Scottie Scheffler. At first, it sounded almost laughable, the same guy who dodged drama, skipped flashy hype, and never said a controversial word. But the rumors refused to die, resurfacing in the corners of the internet where real golf talk lives, far from polished interviews and press conferences. Anonymous insiders suggested LIV wasn't after headlines this time, but something quieter and more strategic: a soft reach. No public flex, no contract announcement, just a discreet feeler slid across the table to see if the door was even slightly open. And that's what made it unsettling. Silence doesn't mean nothing happened. Sometimes it means everything was handled off the books. According to the chatter, the number wasn't massive by LIV standards, but it wasn't pocket change either. A reported $5 million not to jump ship or defect, but simply to stay reachable, to listen, to keep conversations alive without committing publicly. That detail flipped the entire script. This wasn't about loyalty versus betrayal, it was about leverage, insurance, and keeping options open while the golf world burned around him. If true, it would explain why nothing ever leaked to mainstream media. No paper trail, no celebration, just a quiet move in a very loud war. Suddenly, Scheffler's silence didn't look passive anymore. It looked calculated. And here's where it gets sticky, because if Scheffler even entertained the idea, even briefly, it shatters the myth that loyalty in modern golf is untouchable. The PGA Tour didn't just need his swing, they needed his image. Clean, calm, unshakable, the player fans could point to and say, "See, some guys can't be bought." But whispers like these don't surface without friction somewhere behind the scenes. And once a name like his enters the rumor mill, it never fully leaves. True or not, the question was now out there, echoing louder with every retelling. If Scottie Scheffler had a price, what did that say about everyone else? Overflowing right in the same stretch when Brooks Koepka and Cameron Smith stunned fans by walking away. The story went like this. While Scheffler publicly kept his distance from LIV Golf, his team was allegedly feeling things out behind closed doors. The whispers claimed he never truly planned to jump, but he was smart enough to listen. Turning down life-changing money without at least hearing the pitch would have been reckless. And that's when the $5 million figure first surfaced. A supposed side payment meant solely to keep communication lines open. Not a contract, not an obligation. Just a quiet retainer designed to vanish the moment it ever saw daylight. Most people brushed it off as conspiracy chatter, but as the months passed, the rumor refused to fade. Instead, it grew louder, sharper, and harder to ignore. According to those whispers, LIV didn't just want Scottie Scheffler on their roster, they wanted to eliminate the possibility of him becoming the PGA Tour's forever champion. That was the real play. The solution, allegedly, was a side deal unlike anything golf had ever seen. Instead of locking him into a long-term contract like Brooks or Bryson, LIV floated a $5 million insurance payment, no commitment. No event appearances, just a move designed to keep him listening. Think of it as buying time. If Scheffler ever wavered, LIV wanted the door already cracked open, and for Scheffler it was framed as a low-risk play. Here's where it gets wild. Some fans swear they noticed signs almost immediately, because after the alleged talks, strange shifts began popping up around Scheffler's orbit. 4 months, the $5 million rumor drifted through golf's underground with nothing concrete to back it up until the so-called anonymous leaks appeared. Accounts began posting what they claimed were screenshots of draft agreements and email chains between LIV negotiators and someone tied to Scheffler's camp. One image even included the phrase, non-binding retainer agreement, next to a number that just happened to total $5 million. It spread fast, and for several days golf Twitter was on fire as fans went full detective mode, zooming in on font sizes, email signatures, and even metadata pulled from blurry PDF images. Some believed it was enough to prove Scheffler had at least listened to the pitch. Then, just like that, everything vanished, posts deleted, accounts frozen, links dead, all within a single week. What remained were only scraps. Reddit threads discussing screenshots that no longer existed, a digital trail scrubbed so clean it felt intentional, which only made the noise louder. Did Scheffler's legal team step in? Did LIV pull the plug to save face? Or did the whole thing collapse as a sloppy hoax? Whatever the truth, one thing stood out: if there was nothing to hide, why did all the supposed evidence disappear overnight? Behind closed doors, PGA Tour officials weren't ignoring the chatter. While nothing was ever confirmed, insiders hinted that rumors of Scheffler's alleged talks reached headquarters, and the timing couldn't have looked more suspicious. Not long after those whispers surfaced, the PGA Tour rolled out dramatic prize purse increases and expanded bonus pools. 4 top players. Officially, it was about staying competitive with LIV's cash, but some believe Scheffler himself helped force the issue, having seen LIV's numbers firsthand. And that knowledge, the story goes, changed everything. Quietly, the message to PGA Tour leadership was clear. If the tour didn't step up, loyalty wouldn't last forever, not even for him. Other players noticed too. Some veterans allegedly whispered that the Golden Boy wasn't as squeaky clean as the media made him seem, with a few even hinting the tour shielded Scheffler's image at all costs, fearful of the PR chaos if their most wholesome star were exposed as negotiating on the side. The talk didn't stay locked inside boardrooms. It spilled into locker rooms, where jealousy, envy, and suspicion simmered just beneath the surface. That's when fans finally asked the question no one wanted to touch. Did Scheffler actually take the money? At that point, the rumors stopped being background noise and split the golf world wide open. Lines formed quickly. Some players doubled down on loyalty, arguing that rumors were cheap and proof still mattered. Others weren't so sure, pointing to how fast the tour reacted and how quickly money appeared once Scheffler's name entered the conversation. To them, that didn't feel random. Behind smiles and sponsor-friendly quotes, tension crept in quiet side eyes, short answers, and a shift in the vibe no one wanted to admit was real. The idea that golf's cleanest image might also carry leverage rattled people, because if Scheffler could apply pressure, everything people believed about loyalty in modern golf suddenly felt fragile. If Scheffler could influence change without saying a word publicly, that meant power was moving in silence, and that made a lot of people uncomfortable. Meanwhile, he stayed exactly who he had always been on the surface. Calm interviews, measured answers, no drama, no shots fired. That silence only made things louder. In today's game, saying nothing can say everything. He never addressed the $5 million rumor directly, never confirmed it, never denied it. He just kept winning, kept showing up, and kept stacking finishes. To supporters, that was proof the talk was nonsense. To skeptics, it felt calculated, like someone who knew the storm would pass if he didn't feed it. Either way, the lack of clarity kept the rumor alive, hovering between truth and fiction with nowhere to land. That's when the narrative truly split. One side dismissed it all as internet noise and click-chasing speculation, while the other believed something real had happened even if it never crossed a contract line. In modern golf, perception matters almost as much as proof, and the mere idea that LIV could reach Scheffler rattled the foundation. The untouchable suddenly looked reachable, the symbol of loyalty suddenly looked human, and once fans see that crack, they never unsee it. From that moment on, every move, every comment, and every PGA decision involving money was filtered through one uncomfortable question that still hasn't gone away. Some fans flatly refused to believe any of it, viewing Scheffler as the definition of clean-cut, a devoted husband, quiet superstar, more likely to be at Bible study than plotting secret deals, and chalked the rumors up to jealous rivals and bored fans unable to stomach his success. Others weren't convinced, pointing to subtle changes that didn't quite add up. Whispers of upgraded travel, including talk of a fractional private jet share he once dismissed, and reports of luxury practice setups in Texas that seemed to appear overnight. To skeptics, those weren't coincidences but patterns, no hard proof, no receipts, just signals that even big PGA checks couldn't fully explain, unless a quiet $5 million had slipped into the picture. And that raised the bigger question. If the whispers were true, why would LIV spend millions on someone who never even left the tour? The idea of Scheffler pocketing $5 million would strike at the very core of the PGA Tour's war against LIV Golf. He wasn't just another player, he was the symbol of loyalty, the one who stood firm while others chased the bag. If it ever came out that he quietly took LIV money, even without switching sides, it would shatter the moral high ground the PGA leaned on so heavily. How could the tour point fingers at Brooks, Bryson, or Phil if its own champion was cashing checks behind the scenes? It would prove that money talks louder than loyalty, no matter how polished the image, and the fallout wouldn't stop there. If Scheffler had a side arrangement, who else might have had one too? Rory? Others no one ever suspected? Was it deeper than a single name? Was the entire tour quietly negotiating while fans were sold a story about loyalty and tradition? That's why this rumor hits differently. It's not just about one golfer. It's about whether the PGA versus LIV battle was ever about principles at all, or if it was always about money dressed up in clean PR and strategic silence. And that leaves one final uncomfortable question hanging in the air. No contract ever surfaced, no bank transfers, no undeniable proof, just whispers, deleted screenshots, and speculation that refuses to die. Scottie Scheffler remains, at least publicly, the PGA Tour's golden boy. Loyal, humble, untouchable. Yet the rumor of a $5 million LIV side deal still lingers like a shadow fans can't shake. Maybe it was all smoke with no fire. Maybe rivals planted the story to stain a spotless image. Or maybe, just maybe, the truth was buried long before it ever had a chance to see daylight. And that possibility is exactly what keeps the story alive, because in modern golf, perception sticks even when proof doesn't, and once a rumor reaches a certain level, it becomes part of the conversation forever. Every move gets dissected, and for Scheffler that meant carrying a shadow he never publicly acknowledged. Sponsors stayed quiet, the tour stayed quiet, and that silence spoke volumes to fans who were already skeptical. Some saw it as protection, others as damage control, but either way the lack of pushback allowed the story to breathe and grow legs. In a sport built on tradition and image, unanswered questions often hit harder than outright accusations. And once doubt enters the room, it rarely leaves. So the story now lives in the gray zone golf hates most, not proven, not debunked, just lingering. Every time LIV announces another massive deal or the PGA tweaks its payouts, the rumor quietly resurfaces. Scheffler keeps winning, keeps smiling, keeps doing everything right on paper. Yet for some fans the image will never be as clean as it once was, because the idea that even he could be approached, tempted, or leveraged changed how people see the game. This wasn't just gossip, it was a mirror held up to golf itself, and whether true or not, it exposed a harsh reality everyone now understands. In this war, money always has a seat at the table. If you love untold stories and raw drama in golf, make sure to subscribe to the Golf Mode TV channel for the inside scoop every week. Because in pro golf, money has a habit of rewriting the script, and if even Scottie Scheffler could be tempted, then no one, not even the face of the PGA Tour, was ever truly beyond LIV's reach. So the question remains, did Scheffler walk away untouched? Or was $5 million simply too much for anyone to ignore?